Hello everyone, it's Paulina, and this time I'm not alone. Today we are with Alana. Hey,
hello.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Great. So where are you from?
I'm from Belfast in Northern Ireland, so it's part of the United Kingdom.
Okay, I'll ask you about this country a little bit later. So what do you do here in China?
I work as an English teacher for a kindergarten.
Oh, okay, great. So is it hard to find a job as a teacher in China?
No, if you're a native English speaker, you can basically walk into a job, and sometimes you'll just get offered a job from random people, so even...
They just see you're a foreigner? Yeah, do you want to work as a teacher?
Sometimes they'll just come up to you in the subway and say, yeah, where are you from? Native speaker, do you want a job?
Yeah, okay, great. Very easy, yeah?
Right.
Okay, you can try. Okay, so how many languages do you speak?
Fluently French, Spanish,
Wow.
English.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm starting to learn Chinese, but not very
Yeah, very good.
yet.
I know.
Not very
She's
good.
just modest.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your way to learn foreign language? What's your secret of success?
I think the best way is just to try to use it. Try to put yourself in a situation where, just face your fear. Put yourself in a situation where there is no option but to speak. Because even if you're nervous and you will make mistakes, you'll learn so much more quickly.
That's true.
Trial and error is the best way to learn. So if you go for lunch and you have two restaurants and you know one has a waitress that speaks your language, go to the one that doesn't. Because even if you say, because my Chinese is jigga,
Yeah, I call it Jaganaga language.
jigga.
Yeah.
So I think just the best way, just go there. Really put yourself, just go out of your comfort zone. And I think that's the fastest way to learn.
Okay, but if you can't afford to travel, if you're not in the country of the
You're not in the
language.
country, the best way, music. Actually, I think the best way, because a lot of people don't have a lot of time, so if you just have music that you like and just play it in the background, cleaning the house, on your iPod when you're running.
You just absorb,
You're
yeah?
subconsciously absorbing it, and it predisposes your brain to recognize the sounds, and I think that when you do that, it's more easier to pronounce as well.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so you travel a lot, yeah? I know. Have you been to Russia?
Yes.
Okay. Can you speak Russian?
I can say sabaka.
Собака?
Sabaka.
Oh, yeah. Собака, good.
Нет. What else? Banya. Спасибо.
Ah, спасибо,
Спасибо.
Ah, okay, great.
Is that Proust? Is that Russian? No.
What?
Proust? No.
Proust?
Cheers? No, never mind. No, I don't speak Russian. No,
Okay, yeah. Anyway, these words are really, really good. Okay. So, back to your country. I've never been to Ireland, neither have any of my friends. So can you tell us a little bit about this country?
It's a beautiful country, very green because it rains most days. Yeah, it's very small. I've been told that the accent is really difficult to understand.
That's true.
Which is true. Yeah. What is it? Slightly crazy in some ways, but very enjoyable.
In which ways?
Let me see. It depends.
Crazy like Russian crazy?
Yes.
Ah,
actually,
I get it.
Yes. Okay. Crazy like the Russians.
Very close to
Yeah.
Russian crazy. Okay.
Crazy like the Russians, so I think you'll love it there. What else? Yeah, it's very friendly. People are I think that people from UK, they might be a little bit cold at first. The people from where I'm from are really friendly. So, for example, if you're in London and you say hello to someone on the street, they might seem a little standoffish. It might be a bit strange, but in Belfast, my city, you can say hello and everyone will stop to talk to you.
Oh, great. So we need to go to Ireland, I think. Okay, so we are in China, and the first question I ask all the foreigners is, what do you find interesting, unusual, maybe strange about living in China, teaching in China as well?
What do I find unusual? Everything.
Everything, yeah.
Everything. It's like
It's better to ask what do you find usual.
it's like the reverse of the West in so many ways. I feel that the Chinese people think Westerners are very direct and almost aggressive, because the Chinese person will generally, you have to guess what they mean. So even their language, if you look at their language, there's no preposition, tense. You have to infer the meaning from very few words, and I think that's true of the people as well. So a lot of what they say, there's a subtext to it. So I think that communication can be difficult, and not just because of the language, because of the mentality. What else is strange? Yeah, I'm still using chopsticks. Can't really use that yet. But yeah, it's an interesting place to live.
Okay. Were you asked any unusual questions by Chinese?
Yes, I was. One of my students, a 6-year-old boy, asked me, "What is your biggest fear?"
Really? That's unusual for children,
Yeah, I thought that, even for a Chinese person, I thought that was pretty unique.
Yeah, I was just very surprised when people ask me every time, "How old are you?"
How old are you?
And
do you have children?
do you have children?
married?
Are you married?
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
And how much do you
How much?
earn?
That's the difference. Like, people from the UK and Ireland, they will not talk about money. But here, it's
Too private.
Yeah. In some ways, I feel like the Chinese are very direct. They'll just tell you.
So
You look
very
fat.
controversial. Yeah. On the one hand, you need to infer the meaning. On the
Yeah.
other hand, too direct. Yeah. So
Some
very
ways
controversial.
they're so direct, and in other ways they're so. I feel as if it's Alice in Wonderland, that you've gone through the looking glass, and everything here is the opposite.
Exactly.
Of what you're used
Yeah,
to.
even if we look at the language,
Yeah.
everything is the opposite, yeah?
Exactly.
In English you ask, where is it?
Yeah,
In
even
Chinese, it is where.
Even the semantics
Even the
of
word
sentence
order.
are completely reversed.
Yeah, completely reversed. Okay, excellent, agree. Thank you very much. That was very
problem.
useful and very interesting. Thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye.